مرحبا وصباح الخير مساء الخير واهلا وسهلا فيكم. معكم جورج سراباي، واليوم عندنا لايف كثير مميز بالتعاون مع شركة بلاك ماجيك، وبالطبع hosted by AAB World. قبل ما نبدأ ورحب بالضيفة أكيد مس أبيجيل، رح لكم عنها شوي before ما أعطيها الميكروفون وتحكي هي وتعرفنا أكثر عن حالها. بحب لكم بس هيدا اللايف رح يكون موجود على الانستقرام، فإذا تحبوا تشوفوا 9 by 16 ولا بتحبوا تشوفوا 16 by 9 you can always go to YouTube على اليوتيوب channel تبع AAB World وتحضروا اللايف أعرض ذات الكونتنت بس الفورمات بيتغير. هاللايف طبعا اليوم عندنا كتير أمور نحكي فيها بهاللايف، واحدة منها هي عرض خاص رح يكون بيتضمن المنتج اللي عم نحكي عنه اليوم يلي هو Resolve 17 من شركة بلاك ماجيك. بس قبل ما نحكي شوي عن Resolve وشو هو هالبرنامج وكيف تستفيدوا منه كمصورين كإديتورز، خليني رحب بضيفتي مس Abigail. Miss Abigail, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you there in Kuwait?
Good. Weather is nice.
Really?
We're definitely
Good
getting
for
into
you.
summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope Dubai isn't too hot as well.
Well, it is very hot here.
Yeah. Miss Abigail, it's such an honor to have you
Yes.
in this live.
Thank you so
much. We're so honored. Miss Abigail is the only certified Resolve trainer in the Middle East. That's a huge thing to accomplish. How did it happen?
After lots of trainings, and yeah, I also have to take examinations for this under Blackmagic Design. Yes, finally, certified trainer.
Wow, congrats. We're so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
So you technically self-taught yourself and then took, of course, professional courses within the Blackmagic Academy until you graduated, right?
Yes, something like that, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, people underestimate the power of self-learning today, and if anything, you're a true testament to the fact that if you start properly, people will find you and then they will help you get to the point where you want to be, and in this case it was Blackmagic.
Yes, exactly. And you also have to take note that Davinci Resolve is a software that is very easy to learn. So if you're interested to learn Davinci Resolve, I'm here, Blackmagic Design is also here, and we can support you on your Davinci Resolve journey.
Yeah. I just want to say before we keep going with your presentation, I want to tell people, I'm going to say it in Arabic and in English, we have a segment reserved for your questions. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the live, whether it's here or on YouTube, on Instagram or YouTube. Please leave your questions, and Miss Abigail, after her presentation, will try to, of course, answer as many questions as she can. I'm going to combine so many questions together if I feel they're similar, so Miss Abigail can be kind enough to answer all these questions. So كنت عم بقول بالإنجليزي اللي عنده أي سؤال بيختص بدافنشي ريزولف من شركة بلاك ماجيك بليز اتركوه بالكومنتس whether هون على انستغرام ولا على اليوتيوب شانل، ورح جمع كل هالأسئلة أنا وترجمها لمس أبيجيل بآخر البريزنتيشن تبعها، يعني بعد ما تخلص البريزنتيشن، وبالتالي حجرب كمان ترجم أجوبتها again للعربي للي بحب يسمعهم بالعربي. فالأسئلة بليز اتركوها بالكومنتس. Miss Abigail, I just wanna. I would just like to tell people a few things about Blackmagic before we keep going.
Yeah, sure.
As people know, Blackmagic Resolve, Davinci Resolve, is the industry standard when it comes to color grading. I think it is definitely the most used software for color grading, and it's the accepted industry standard for that. Today, with Davinci Resolve 17, what Davinci is trying to achieve is to enable people to do more with the software than just color grading. Today, people can use Davinci Resolve 17, which of course Ms. Abigail will talk about profusely in her presentation, allows people to use Davinci more as an NLE, which is a non-linear editor, which is of course a software that can manipulate footage without, changing the source file. So it's a technical term. In addition to that, what I love about Davinci Resolve is the fact that you have hardware that goes and plays so well with the software, which is something not many other NLEs provide. And that's a huge added value, because today, as we know, Davinci has so many platforms or hardware that you can buy to help you ease and make your editing process faster, from the color grading tools all the way down to the speed editor that allows people to use Davinci Resolve even faster than it already is. These are just some of my favorite features about Davinci Resolve, in addition to the fact that you can download a free version of the software today on Blackmagic's website. That's a huge value. You get 90% and more of the software's functionality online for free with the free version. And then if you upgrade to the paid version, you're gonna get a perpetual license, which means it's a license that keeps on going forever. You don't have to pay any dime anymore for Blackmagic. That's a huge value for editors, for filmmakers, for videographers, and I think everybody should jump on that opportunity today. With that being said, Ms. Abigail, thank you so much again for being here with us. Looking forward to your presentation.
Yes, thank you so much, George. And thank you everyone who's watching in Kuwait right now. As much as we want to have like a physical session and me visiting Kuwait, we cannot really do that right now because of the pandemic restrictions. So we'll just have to settle for webinars as of this time. And I'm glad to be here, and thank you AAB World for having me for this Upgrade to Davinci Resolve Studio 17 webinar.
Yes.
So I'm going to proceed with my presentation. So it would be a keynote presentation with a short demo of the Davinci Resolve Studio features. So before I begin my presentation, I'm going to give an overview for everyone about what Davinci Resolve is. Currently, I'm in touch with a lot of post-production professionals, freelancers, editors, those who are converting from another software to Davinci Resolve. And I'm glad because there's a lot of inquiries about what Davinci Resolve can do and what Davinci Resolve really is. And many people, many editors know Davinci Resolve as a color grading software. But then again, Blackmagic Design, they improved Davinci Resolve into a full nonlinear editing software. So let me proceed with my presentation. So Davinci Resolve is a complete ecosystem of post-production tools, meaning you can create and finish your project by just using one software. And if you're going to Blackmagic Design website, you will see there a free version and the studio version. So today we will be discussing about the studio version of Davinci Resolve. And to give you an overview about what this is all about, if you're going to download the studio version, you don't have to download the other pages because it will be like one whole package. So when you install that into your system, you will be seeing your media page, your cut page, edit page, fusion, color grading, Fairlight, up to the deliver page. So it's a whole package. You don't have to like install it one by one, or you don't have to use other software to be able to create your project. So I'm going to give you a run through of the different pages in Davinci Resolve. So just for everyone to have an idea about what it is or what's inside Davinci Resolve. So for those who haven't downloaded the studio version yet, I think this is the right time. So here is your media page. So the media page is the first page in Davinci Resolve. This is where you can preview your media. This is where you import your media, and this is where you can manage your media. So for me, before I begin any project, I want it to be organized as much as possible. Like I know where my logos here are. I know where my background music. I know where I can find the clips that I need for a specific part of my timeline. So this is where you do that, the media page. And for example, if you are a DIT and you want to have copies of your project or your files, you can use also the media management part for Davinci Resolve under the media page. You can clone your materials, you can transcode your materials, you can even add more metadata to the clips that you have. And so basically this is like a huge folder that can be seen to the other pages of Davinci Resolve as well. And then you have your cut page. This is the recent addition in Davinci Resolve. So this is the latest page, and as you can see right now, Davinci Resolve has two editing environments. So the cut page, it is meant for fast editing and quick delivery. So if you are a content creator and you want to publish your work immediately to YouTube or Vimeo, Twitter, and other social media, you can use the cut page. The advantage of using the cut page is that you don't have to move to other pages of Davinci Resolve to be able to finish your project. So you can create your timeline, you can add your text, you can even create or add some keyframing in Davinci Resolve cut page. And one more thing that I would like to emphasize this afternoon is that the availability of this one. So this is the Davinci Resolve Speed Editor. This is mapped with the cut page. So as you can see the buttons here, you can use this one without your mouse and your keyboard. So it's really meant for fast editing. So you can create your in and out points, bring it to your timeline, and create your whole story. And one more thing about this, guys, is if you're going to purchase Davinci Resolve Studio, you will get the Davinci Resolve Speed Editor for free. So this is like a good deal because aside from the software, you'll be having a hardware together with it, and then you can create your project using the Speed Editor as well. So you can see Davinci Resolve has before the editor keyboard, so this is the larger version. If you're going to look at it again, you can see that there are also camera angles. So the Speed Editor can also do multicam editing. And if you're going to explore the cut page, you will see how easy it is to navigate and to explore. And then you have your edit page. So the edit page is meant for long-form editing. If you're working on your TV series, commercials, documentaries, you can use the edit page for this. But you can also create your rough cuts in the cut page and move to the edit page right after. So there's really no limitation or restriction to just when do you want to use the pages available inside Davinci Resolve. If you are a professional editor, even if you are just starting to learn video editing, for me, the concept of video editing is just one, or it's universal, you know. If I want to create my timeline, I need to just create my cuts and then add my transition or text if it's needed. If you are using another software and you have your own keyboard shortcuts, you have the chance to use the same shortcuts in Davinci Resolve through the keyboard customization. So you can apply the same shortcuts inside the one that you're using currently to Davinci Resolve and do your editing there. So that's one advantage of using Davinci Resolve. And just like what I told George earlier, I told him that Davinci Resolve is very easy to learn. And like what he said, that Davinci Resolve is known as a color grading software. But right now, Davinci Resolve is a complete nonlinear editing software and hardware. So it's not just meant for color grading right now. It's like a complete ecosystem of tools that you need for your post-production requirements. And then you have your Fusion page. So Fusion is meant for visual effects and motion graphics. So if you want to add elements to your timeline, you can use the Fusion page for that. And you can also see that the Fusion page is like the color page, it works through nodes, so it's much more visual compared to layers. So that's one Fusion page. And if you're going to purchase the Davinci Resolve Studio, you can use the same activation key. So when you download Fusion Studio from the Blackmagic Design website, you can use the same activation key and use Fusion Studio as well. So it's like purchasing Davinci Resolve Studio, and you will get not just one, but 2 products for free. And then you have your color page. So Davinci Resolve, for me, the heart of this software is the color page. You know, the strength of Davinci Resolve is the color page because, yes, it started as a color grading software. It started as a color grading tool. It's the standard when it comes to color grading. And then this is where you manipulate the colors. This is where you add the life when you create the story of your timeline. And it has available tools that is more than enough for you to create like cinematic effects for your story. And then, of course, you have the Fairlight page. You have to take note that Fairlight is for audio post-production or audio post-editing. So you can now edit your audio without moving to another software. So you can finish everything inside Davinci Resolve. And Fairlight currently is the only post-production software that is integrated with video editing. So you just have to move from your color page to another page and then see there the Fairlight. So there are available tools for your audio post-editing inside Davinci Resolve. And then the last page that we have here is the Deliver page. So Davinci Resolve has customized window if you want to change the resolution or the codec when it comes to the delivery. There are also presets for your YouTube, Vimeo, or even if you want to export IMF files. Davinci Resolve has the capacity to do that. And aside from this, even Davinci Resolve is a complete tool for your post-production needs. You can also have your XML files, EDL files, and AF files. So Davinci Resolve also caters for round-trip workflow. So when we say round-trip workflow, you're using another software and then you're bringing it to Davinci Resolve for editing, grading, or if you want to just finish the whole project inside Davinci Resolve, it's possible. Or if you want to return it back to the original software that you're using to begin from the beginning. So Davinci Resolve can also handle that. So this afternoon, we will be answering. I'm going to give you examples or maybe reasons why you should upgrade to Davinci Resolve Studio 17 or why move from the free version to Davinci Resolve Studio 17. So I've given you like 2 reasons already, getting the speed editor and Fusion Studio for free. And right now, I'm going to give you features that I find useful when I use Davinci Resolve. And these are the features that I usually recommend our end users or our clients if they ask me what's the difference between Davinci Resolve Free and the Davinci Resolve Studio. So I'm going to begin with multiple GPU support. So multiple GPU support. Davinci Resolve is a GPU-powered software. You need a powerful GPU for real-time rendering and processing. So a lot of the processes happening inside Davinci Resolve is GPU-powered. In the free version, of course, you have your GPU there, but you cannot really add more graphic card or GPU power if you're using the free version. So you have to take note that if you have more GPU, the processing or the rendering of your projects will be more easier. It will be easier for you and for your system as well. So that's one advantage of having Davinci Resolve Studio. And HDR support. Yes, Davinci Resolve can do HDR color grading. And right now, a lot of projects are being created under the HDR grading because of not only because of the requirements of the television, but because it gives you more information when it comes to the color grading part. So if you are working on this free version, you can still do the correct color profile for HDR grading. But then again, you need HDR nodes, HDR scopes, and for the delivery, you also need the clip analysis. So it depends if it's for Dolby Vision or HDR10+. And these are only available in the studio version. and resolution support. So you have to take note for export, the maximum, the limit for the free version is 4K Ultra HD. So until there only. That's the limit. So if you have a requirement higher than that, then you need to have Davinci Resolve Studio to be able to deliver a higher resolution requirement. And then network rendering. Network rendering, meaning you can render your project from one workstation to another within the same network. So this one will help you if you are really having a lot of projects and you're on a tight deadline. So when you are rendering, you can render it on another system, and then you can continue working on your projects. So it will make, your life a bit easier because you don't have to wait for your system to finish rendering the project at all. Or if you are working on a Windows workstation and you need a ProRes codec, then you can just simply render that into a Mac system to get your ProRes codec. And 10-bit codec support. Davinci Resolve Studio can decode 10-bit H.264 and H.265. If you are using the free version, this will only show you black thumbnails. So you cannot really see the clip, and you have to re-encode that to be able to use that on the free version. So if you are working on 10-bit codec files, H.264, H.265, then you need to have Davinci Resolve Studio. And this one, Davinci Neural Engine, it is introduced during Davinci Resolve 16. So a lot of processes, repetitive, time-consuming processes, it is being reduced by the Davinci Neural Engine. So this is the artificial intelligence available in the software. So a lot of effects, a lot of processes, now they are currently being processed through the neural engine inside Davinci Resolve. So later on, I'm going to give you examples of Resolve effects and some processes that is processed under the neural engine inside Davinci Resolve. And by the way, we are live in YouTube and Instagram. So if you have any questions, I will address them later on. Just feel free to write them on the comment section below. And deinterlacing images, I have one client who moved from the free version to the studio version of Davinci Resolve because of this feature. They are working on some files and they are working on some projects, and most of the clips became, interlaced. So what they did, they moved to Davinci Resolve Studio to deinterlace the materials. And Davinci Resolve Studio has the capacity to do that. The free version, no, they don't. It cannot deinterlace materials in general. And Resolve FX plugins. If you have downloaded the Davinci Resolve free version, you will know that Davinci Resolve has a lot of Resolve FX available. And you will also see that the good ones will be watermarked and you cannot really use them. Although they will give you like a preview of what it can do and all, but you cannot really render out a watermarked Resolve FX. And these Resolve effects are CPU and GPU accelerated and can also be manually, you can change the parameters using the inspector for this. So Davinci Resolve has a lot of great Resolve effects. And advanced noise reduction. For Davinci Resolve, usually the question that I get, if I'm going to rank them for the most popular question that I get, I usually get, what's the difference between the free version and the studio version? And I don't know why, but the first thing that always comes into my head is that advanced noise reduction. So Davinci Resolve Studio has advanced noise reduction. And it is, there are two options actually, the temporal noise reduction and the spatial noise reduction. So temporal noise reduction will look in between the frames and the spatial noise reduction will just look in the frame itself. So usually the noise that we are seeing in our clip or in our media file is in between the frames. So there are instances that you only need to apply temporal noise reduction to reduce the noise. You don't really have to just remove the noise in the frame itself. So this is a good feature actually, and it's if you want to move from the free version to the studio version, this one, you will get this one. And Imf Delivery. So aside from HDR grading, aside from HDR delivery, IMF is becoming a very popular delivery format nowadays because, you know, Netflix and 20th Century Fox, they require this. So if you want, or if you are working on some projects that is meant for Netflix delivery, then you need to have IMF delivery option. So the advantage of having IMF delivery is that you don't have to render the whole timeline or the whole sequence. So if you already have an existing project, what you can do is you can just edit the specific portion that you want to change, and then render just that portion, and then it is less time consuming, and you don't really have to change a lot in the whole parameters that you need for the delivery. So it's an advantage. Plus you can embed HDR metadata on IMF delivery as well. Okay, Davinci Resolve Studio is not subscription based. If you're going to purchase Davinci Resolve Studio today, and Blackmagic Design will release Davinci Resolve 18, the same activation license that you're using for your studio version will be applicable on the Davinci Resolve latest version. So what you can do is you just have to go to Blackmagic Design website, download the latest version, and then use the same activation license. So it's not subscription. The upgrade and the update is for free. So that's one. So if you're going to purchase today, you will be receiving your Davinci Resolve Speed Editor plus your Fusion Studio. And it will work like, let's say, lifetime. So it's another advantage. And it's not, the price for this one, the price of Davinci Resolve is very competitive as well. So it's actually a good investment. And the availability of keyboards and color grading panels. I wasn't able to add, but we also have Fairlight Desktop Console for your audio editing. So Blackmagic Design, they have created this, they have improved on the panels for color grading. So this speed editor, editor keyboard, mini panel, micro panel, and even the advanced panel, it will help you with your project. So it will give you more advantage when you have this actually. So it's actually a good investment as well. Okay, so since I'm done with the discussion of the features inside Davinci Resolve Studio, few features inside Davinci Resolve Studio that I find helpful for you guys. So I'm going to proceed with a short demo. I'm going to show you the interface of Davinci Resolve. I'm going to give you examples of the Resolve effects that I'm talking about, as well as the neural engine processes. Okay, so you can see here, this is the media page interface. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do face detection. So the advantage of face detection is if you are working on a TV series or maybe a movie or documentary and you have subjects, people as subjects, then you can use face detection to create a smart bin for people. So it's much easier for you to look for your subject when you want to include them on your timeline. So, okay, I have a few clips available here, but I'm just going to select a few more, you know, just for, because it might take time for the face analysis. So let's just try this. Okay. Wait. Let's try. Okay. Let's try this 4. And then I just have to select Analyze Clips for People. You have to take note that every time you want to search for something, there's a contextual menu available. So here, so this one, you just have to click Analyze Clips for People. And it will give you this. And then what you can do is you just have to rename each one. So for example, this is presenter. This one is, okay. This one is for Hannah with an H. This is Jim. And this is Harry. Okay, so I just have to close this. And I have to go to my preferences under user editing. You can click here, automatic smart bins for people metadata. And then I just have to click on save. And under the smart bins here, let me zoom that for you. So here. So when I click this, it will give me my folder here. So Hannah, Harry, Jim, and even the presenter. So imagine if I have like hundreds of clips for Hannah only, then it would be much easier for me to locate her, and then I can include her on my timeline. Yeah. Another one is the deinterlace. So let's go back here. So I have here an interlaced material. So if this is just a short clip, so for this demo, I'm trying to like have smaller clips, shorter clips, so it's much easier for me to do the whole process and so that you guys can see what Davinci Resolve can do. So here in the interlace, I just have to go to my project settings. Here, enable video field processing, so I just have to uncheck this. So here, enable video field processing, so I just have to remove that. So just like, and then click on save. And you can see that it's already changing, like the image is already changing for my clip. And then I have to select this. And then under clip attributes, I just have to select enable deinterlacing. So this one. So if you're using the free version, this one will not be there. It will not be available. So just have to click OK. So see that there's a huge improvement from the original clip to the deinterlaced material. And then let's proceed with the edit page. So here I have a pre-made timeline. So this project here. So Davinci Resolve has an option for lens correction. So let's select this clip and I will click on Analyze. Okay, so here. And then you can also manually change this. So negative. So let's see here. So you can do lens correction. You can do lens correction in Davinci Resolve. This one is also for your Davinci Resolve neural engine. So we have here retime and scaling. It's under the inspector. So for everyone's here, this one. So you just have to select here retime and scaling. Okay. So there are 4 available retime process in Davinci Resolve. It will be using the neural engine. So you have your nearest, your frame blend, optical flow, and so here, sorry, 3. Okay, so let's try the nearest. So if I'm going to change this, you will see, let's zoom this in. Okay. So the movement of the wheels of the car, it's a bit jittery and blurry. Okay. And then let's try frame blend. and then we can try optical flow. So under the optical flow is the speed warp. So under the motion estimation, you can see speed warp. Okay, what I did is that I already rendered examples of this because speed warp is GPU intensive, and if you have a very powerful system, then yes, you can you can do it like real time, but then I don't have enough GPU power to do that. So my system will definitely take time, and yeah, so here are the examples for the speed effect. So let's, wait, sorry. Okay. So this is here. So this is frame blend. So you have to take a look at the movement of the wheels of the car. This is optical flow. So let's try again. Frame blend, optical flow, and then you have here, speed warp. So the speed warp also uses the Davinci neural engine. Okay. Here. So let's move with the other additional effects. So I'm going to move to the color page. Oh wait, sorry. Let me show you. So you have your resolve effects available in the color page. Before, you can only add resolve effects in the color page, but since Davinci Resolve 17 has massive improvements, so in the edit page, you can also add resolve effects from here. So you don't have to move to your color page to apply resolve effects. So for example, this clip that we have here. So I'm going to select this. So this one, let's apply the haze. So if I'm going to select the haze, you can see that the changes, it's already being previewed from my viewer. So if I'm just going to select the haze, it'll be changed automatically, and then I can just apply that on the clip. So there. And then again, in the inspector, under effects, you will have this, the haze. So what I can do, I'll just have to adjust the shadows. Maybe nope, not that much, like here, so that we can still see some details in the front part of the car. And you can add not just one, but more than one resolve effects in one clip. So for example, this contrast. So this, you can just apply it here. Okay. And then let's add some more details. So I'm adding a lot so that you can see what are the changes that we did. So okay, that's too much. So let's just reduce that here. So that's 2 resolve effects in one clip. So you can apply resolve effects in the edit page as well. And then you can also move to the color page for more resolve effects. So this is what I'm talking about a while ago about the nodes. So Davinci Resolve works through nodes. So this is much more visual. So what I can do is I just have to remove this clip. Effects. So this is the open effects that I can apply on the clip that I have. And as you can see, the timeline or the clips that I have, that what I'm showing you right now is the same timeline from my edit page. So if I'm going to change here, whatever timeline is open, if I'm going to move from one page of Davinci Resolve to another, it would be the same timeline. So here in the color page, let's try this one first. So this clip here. So if we want to remove, for example, this part here, and we just want to remove that sticker, we can use patch replacer. So you can either create another node or you can apply this effect on the node itself. And then you can use this to change. So rectangle, so we can resize. Here. So I'm just going to hide the clips so that the visual will be here. No, smaller. Okay. And then what I have to do is I have to track this. Davinci Resolve, the color page, has a very powerful tracker and power windows. So this, I just have to change this to, effects. And then I just had to add a tracking here. Yeah, here. Okay. And then I just have to track the movement, so it will follow. And then I just have to add another clip so that you will see that the sticker is no longer there. So that's the patch replacer tool. And then Davinci Resolve also has face refinement. Let's try this. So the first one that I've shown you is the face detection. So that one, you can create the smart bins for your people metadata. This one will improve the facial features of your subject. So again, you can add another node for this, or you can just simply apply that on the same node. Okay. And then it will analyze. So if you have two subjects in one clip, it will ask you which subject you want to do face refinement. So you can either select the first one and then create another node for the second one. So here are the tracking points that I'm telling you. So Davinci Resolve already created the mask and the overlay for us, and it's much easier for us to do the grading of our subjects' facial features. So this, let's just remove this. Before, you can do this without the face refinement, but then again, you have to create the tracking points like one by one, and then you have to track forward, backward, and make sure that everything will follow the movement of your subject. So this is, I like this one. So you can do eye bag removal. You know, this is like, I think I need this also. Eye bag removal. So here. So if I'm going to disable this, you can see the difference between the one that eye bag removal is already applied. You can also add more contrast to your subject. Okay, let's do some, this. You can also do mid-tone details and then even color boost. So if she's so pale, then you can add like more color to it. And then Davinci Resolve, this one, if you're going to look at the clip name or this is a clip from a film scanner. So Davinci Resolve can also work with a Cintel film scanner. So if you want to remaster some of the films that you have, you can use Davinci Resolve to improve on that. So this is an example of it. And we also have, so because if you're going to look at this clip, there are like dust and like there are like what do you call this? The scanning. Here you can just, so what we can do is we just have to do dust buster. So I just have to apply that on the clip. And then you can also add one more. What you can do is you can do dirt removal. And then you can just change this under the inspector as well. And then, of course, in Davinci Resolve, you can also do your primary grading. So if we can add one more. Okay, so wait. Let's remove that. You can always change here. So And then you have here your primary color wheels. So you have your shadows, your midtones, your highlights, or your lift and gamma and gain. And usually if I'm doing the primary color correction, I'm using the primary bars because it's much easier for me to manipulate. But it depends on your workflow, of course. So here, I'm going to just look at my scopes so that it's much easier for me to, do the balancing. So here, I can just adjust my lift. Okay. Here. Let's lower this. And here. Okay. So we can still improve on the image that we have here. So from here, we'll be having this. So we can still apply a lot of resolve effects, or if you want to do, if you just want to mask the face, you can do that with the face refinement and all. So here I have this one. So let's close this. Yeah, so from here, you'll have this. Yeah. So we have this clip here. So we have applied dirt removal, dust buster, and then you do primary grading. You can even change the background and even do face refinement for our subject. So from this to this one. So the Davinci Resolve color page, you can do all of this. And okay. And then we can also, I'm also going to show you the noise reduction. So I have this clip here. So let me zoom this in. So you can see here that there's a lot of noise in the background of the airplane. So we can reduce that using the noise reduction. So in the color page, under motion effects, so here you have temporal and spatial. So I just have to work on here. You can always adjust this, and let's close this. And let's apply some noise reduction for it. So here. You can see that the details are already smoothened out, and we can still adjust the spatial noise reduction. So there. But then you have to take note, guys. If you are applying noise reduction, make sure that the details of the subject or the details of the clip is still there. Because sometimes if you add, like, if you applied a lot of noise reduction, then everything is smoothened out and there are no more details to it. So you have to take note of when is the right time to apply noise reduction. Okay? So that's how you do noise reduction in Davinci Resolve. And then the last example that I'm going to give you is the Imf Delivery. So let's move to my media page. So it's very easy, if you're working on your timeline and then you want to try the looks that you want, you can just move to the color page and then move back again to the edit page, and then maybe try checking on the audio on the Fairlight page. So that's the things that you can do in Davinci Resolve. So here is my IMF clip. And then I just have to create new timeline because I want to change a portion of this. So if you're going to look on the clip here, it's already a fully rendered sequence. So I just want to change something. So create new timeline. So let's just rename this to IMF 2. And then let's create. So it will give you a new timeline. If I'm going to open my edit page, it would be on this part here. Oops, it's 2. Sorry, this one, IMF 2. So here. Okay. So this clip here, you can easily recognize, right, from the timeline that this clip is too dark compared to the other parts of the clip. Okay, let's make this. Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll just change this or just overwrite the clip with the new clip that I want to replace it with. So from here, let's select one clip. Okay, we can choose this one. So I just have to overwrite this. You can overwrite this by dragging your clip here and then select overwrite. Or you can select the clip and choose this, overwrite clip. So it will change the clip on your timeline here. So, okay. So I'm not going to do like other editing parts or even color grading. I'll just go straight to the deliver page, and then let's change the name here. IMF2, and then this one, let's save it here on my media drive. And then you have to take note that when you export IMF, you have to click on this, the supplemental package. This, you just have to select this. Don't forget this part because there's no point if you don't select that part. So I just have to add this to my render queue and then render all. So it will just take a few seconds for you to complete the whole rendering process for an IMF. So we're done. So it's less time consuming, and if you're editing something and just have to deliver it immediately, then you can use this IMF. So that's one advantage of delivering an IMF material. So I just have to go to my media drive, and this is the clip that we have created. So here, if I'm going to select IMF2 here, so if I'm going to see, you can see here, there's that part. Here, so here's the clip that we have, overwritten a while earlier. So here, so I'm just going to open that on my edit page. So here, IMF2. So this is the file. So if I'm going to proceed here, so this is the clip that we have changed, or the portion that we changed, and then delivered as IMF. So that's one. Well, let's say this is now my favorite feature under Davinci Resolve Studio, aside from the noise reduction. So I think this is the right time for us to do the question and answer. So I'll be addressing your questions. Yeah.
Hello, Miss Abigail.
Wait. Sorry. Okay. We're back.
We're back. Can you hear me? Thank you so much for this incredible demo. It's very eye-opening, to say the least, about the new feature that Blackmagic is providing in Davinci Resolve 17.
Okay,
Hello?
so yeah, so let's proceed with the question and answer.
Thank you, Miss Abigail, for this demo.
Yeah.
اوكي، فشكر كبير بالطبع لمس ابيجيل يلي من دبي عطتنا كل المميزات والخاصيات الجديده يلي ضافوها شركه بلاك ماجيك بدافنشي ريزولف 17 يلي هلا صار فيكم تنزلوا منه الفيرجن المجانيه عبر الموقع تبع Blackmagic. Thank you so much, Ms. Abigail, for this incredible demo. I think it was
thank you also.
Very eye-opening. It showed people the new features, the new abilities, if I might say, of Davinci Resolve 17 and how they can benefit from it in their workflow process. I will be translating now back and forth between English and Arabic, so thank you. Bear with me, please. I'll be doing this back and forth a lot. بالطبع مثل ما قلنا مس أبيجيل هي السيرتيفايد ترينر الوحيد بالشرق الأوسط من شركة بلاك ماجيك على سوفت وير دافنشي ريزولف. رح إذا عندكم أي أسئلة بليز اتركون بالكومنتس تحت هلا على الانستغرام وعلى اليوتيوب، وأنا رح ترجم الأسئلة للإنجليزي لمس أبيجيل، فلو سألكم بالعربي ما تعطلوا هم، رح ترجمه أنا للإنجليزي ووصله لمس أبيجيل، وبالتالي لما هي تجاوب رح أنا أرجع ترجمه من الإنجليزي للعربي لمشاهدينا باللغة العربية. بالإضافة بحب نوه إنه هالفيديو اللايف كله اللي عم بينعمل هالبث اللايف رح يكون كله متوفر على قناة AABWORLD على اليوتيوب مع كل الأسئلة وكل الدمو يلي حكيت عنها مس أبيجيل. بحب انوه بكم شغله مس Abigail. We just want to reiterate what we said in the beginning. So indeed, Resolve 17 is today available on Blackmagic's website for free. There's a free version, correct?
Yes. Currently, the version is Resolve 17 2.2. So that's the latest version. So they have did some improvements with the version, and that's the recent version. There's Resolve 17 2.2.
اوكي، فاذا كنت عم بسال مس ابيجيل اذا ريزولف 17 متوفر اليوم صار على موقع بلاك ماجيك، وبالطبع هي اكدت هالموضوع. بتقول لكم انه ريزولف 17 شو بقولوا فيرجن بالعربي، النسخه 2.2 صارت متوفره على ويب سايت بلاك ماجيك، بتقدروا تنزلوها. وبالطبع مثل ما قلنا بالاول كمان باول اللايف اذا كنتم متواجدين، لما تشتروا السوفت وير يلي هو الفول سوفت وير من بلاك ماجيك اللي هو ريزولف 17، عم تدفعوا انتم لمره واحده بس قيمه هالسوفت وير، فبتدفعوا حقها مره وبقولوا له perpetual license، يعني لايسنس بتكمل معكم مدى الحياه، ما بتضطروا تدفعوا لبلاك ماجيك ولا مره ثانيه مشان ابجريد مشان نيو فيرجنز من السوفت وير. مثل ما بتعرفوا ريزولف دافنشي ريزولف هو الاندستري ستاندرد بالكولر جريدنج، هو البرنامج المعتمد بتلوين الافلام عالميا. واليوم اللي عم بتحاول تعمل شركه بلاك ماجيك وبعتقد نجحت فيه من خلال هالدمو يلي شفناها اليوم مع مس ابيجيل، هي انها تحول هالسوفت وير من كولر جريدنج سوفت وير لبرنامج اديتنج متكامل للفيديوغرافرز والفيلم ميكرز. بالطبع في اوفر كتير مميز من AAB رح يكون رح نعلن عنه بعد الاسئله، فخليكم معنا لتشوفوا هالاوفر اللي فعلا ما في نقول عنه غير ممتاز، رح نقوله بعد الأسئلة. Miss Abigail, I have a couple of questions. I'm going to say them in Arabic, then translate them in English so you can answer. But please give me some moments so I can translate back some technical terminology, okay?
Okay, sure, George.
So,
no problem.
The first question I want to tackle, أول سؤال رح أحكي عنه هو في حدا حط كومنت إنه هالبرنامج شوي صعب، وبما إنه مس أبيجيل مثل ما قلنا بالأول سألناها تعلمت لحالها على هالبرنامج لين وصلت انها تقدر تكون هي الترينر ام المدرب المعتمد الوحيد بالشرق الاوسط، حابب اسالها وين فيهم الناس يبدوا تيتعلموا هالبرنامج. Miss Abigail, somebody left a comment saying that the software is a bit tough, and as we said in the beginning of this live, you were self-taught in the beginning. For the longest period, you self-taught yourself the software. So where can people go to start learning? I don't think it's tough, but in case people need extra resources, where can they go to get those resources?
Okay, thank you for that question, George. Currently, if you're going to look at the Blackmagic Design website, if you're going to Davinci Resolve, under the products, Davinci Resolve, you will see there like the whole information about what Davinci Resolve is, what are the pages of Davinci Resolve is. And on the, I think, second to the last tab, there's an option there for training. So right now, Blackmagic Design, they are releasing training files for everyone who wants to learn Davinci Resolve. And there are also available materials that they can use. So what they have to do is just, when you open the training material, it will be like a step-by-step of what you can do inside Davinci Resolve. For example, in the editing part, they will give you an instruction about how to put your clips on the timeline and then do the editing part. So it's like the Blackmagic Design is also giving everyone, like the end users, for training materials as well. So yeah.
فاللي عم بتقوله ثانك يو مس ابيجيل، اللي عم بتقوله مس ابيجيل هو انه عبر موقع بلاك ماجيك اليوم صرتوا قادرين وتشوفوا تدخلوا وتشوفوا كل الانفورميشن ام كل المعلومات اللي انتم بحاجه لها لتبدوا على برنامج دافنشي ريزولف. طبعا نحن اليوم عم نحكي عن دافنشي ريزولف اللي هو البرنامج من شركه بلاك ماجيك يلي اليوم قدرت بلاك ماجيك تحوله من سوفت وير بس للكولر جريدنج تحوله ل all in one software، يعني برنامج شامل للفيديوغرافرز والفيلم ميكرز. اللي عم بتقوله مس ابيجيل انه اذا بتدخلوا على موقع بلاك ماجيك رح تلاقوا من اليوم في تريننج سكشن تكبسوا عليها، وفي عندكم بلثرة اختيارات كثيره من تريننجز انكم تقدروا تحضروها، ورح يدلوكم هالتريننجز اذا بدكم هالبرامج التمرينيه على بلاك ماجيك ستيب باي ستيب، خطوه بخطوه رح يدلوكم كيف تبدوا مع دافنشي ريزولف وكيف تعملوا عليه اديتنج. بالاضافه شركه AAB من هلا لا ان شاء الله الفيوتشر رح ينزلوا كل فتره برامج تمرين على دافنشي مع صناع محتوى عرب، فهيدا الشيء طبعا قيمه مضافه اكبر للناس يلي بتحب تتعلم بالعربي، حيكونوا متوفرين عبر AAB. عندي سؤال. I have a question, Miss Abigail. You mentioned something about tracking. Tracking is a feature that I've used on Resolve myself, and I was amazed, to say the least, by its ability to interpolate and track very precisely the footage at hand. And I was able to actually change colors in hair, which is the toughest texture in the world, to manipulate or to even work with. What did Blackmagic in Resolve 17 make or enhance in its tracker? I'll ask it in Arabic just so people know what I'm talking about. عم بسأل مس أبيجيل عن خاصية التتبع ببرنامج Blackmagic Davinci Resolve يلي هي خاصية استخدمتها مرة لتغيير لون شعر بقلب فوتج. مثل ما بتعرفوا الشعر هو من أصعب التكستشرز أم ال kind of data that you can manipulate على برنامج الاديتنج، لانه الشعر بيجي رفيع، وبالتالي اذا ما عندنا كثير داتا بالفوتج يعني عم نصور على بت ريت واطي، هالشيء بيؤدي انه ما يقدر التراكر عندنا يلحق الشعر 100%. بس على بلاك ماجيك دافنشي ريزولف عملت هيدا الشيء ليترلي بكبستين زر. فعم بسال مس ابيجيل شو اللي تغير من التراكر القديم لتراكر دافنشي ريزولف 17؟
Okay, so Blackmagic Design, they have improved a lot of features inside Davinci Resolve for Davinci Resolve 17. Ever since I've tried using Davinci Resolve, the power windows and the tracker of Davinci Resolve is already like at the top. When it comes to the standard, it's like there. Actually, it's two of the features that they keep on insisting that they keep on saying that this is a very powerful feature inside the color page. So far, for that question, like there's more improvement in the tracker. Is that what the question is about? Because I think for Davinci Resolve 17 and Davinci Resolve 16, the tracker and the power window still remains what it used to be. It just happened that because of the Davinci neural engine, the tracker, like the tracking of the changes that is happening is much more faster and less time consuming compared before.
Yeah. So عم بتقول مس أبيجيل التراكر and by the way, just I just need to digress. Blackmagic is one of the very few NLEs that actually includes a tracking ability.
Davinci Resolve, yes.
Yeah, and it's the best one by far. So اللي عم بقول اياه انه ردت مس ابيجيل بتقول انه التراكر كان دائما من التوب برايورتيز لبلاك ماجيك، وهي الخاصيه اللي هن من الاكثر الخاصيات اللي مفتخرين فيها بدافنشي ريزولف من زمان لليوم. التراكر تبع بلاك ماجيك، هيدي المداخله اللي انا عملتها، قلت هو فعلا من الافضل. وبالطبع مش كل الان ال ايز، يعني مش كل الاديتنج سوفت وير فيهم تراكر. في كتير اديتنج سوفت وير على الماك بوك تنقول ما فيهم تراكر which is insane برايي، لانه تراكنج هي من اهم الفيتشرز اللي بتساعدكم مش بس بالكولر جريد، بتساعدكم بالماسكينج، بتساعدكم بكثير خاصيات. فبلاك ماجيك اليوم بالطبع حسنوا من التراكر تبعهم اللي هو الافضل بالسوق، بس بالاضافه لانه عم بيستخدموا بروسيسز جداد بالسوفت وير اللي سمتهم مس ابيجيل نيورال انجن. اليوم التراكر نفسه مع هالتحسينات الجديده قادر يشتغل بشكل كتير افضل، بس بسبب انه غيروا البروسيسز بقلب السوفت وير. فهيدا كان جوابها لمس ابيجيل. There's a question that's asking, is Davinci Resolve available for tablet or will it be soon available for tablet? في سؤال انسأل، هل دافنشي ريزولف رح يكون متوفر ل التابلتس يعني ايباد ولا هيدا، ولا في اوبشن انه بالقريب رح يكون متوفر؟
So far, there's no Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve is not available for iPads or tablets. Yeah.
اوكي سو لهلا ما في خبر منه متوفر، وعم بتقول مس ابيجيل كمان ما في خبر اذا رح يكون متوفر. فتابعوا AABWORLD بالطبع، لما يصير متوفر على تابلت بالطبع رح يعلنوا عن هالشيء. في سؤال تاني سألونا اياه، هل متوفر دافنشي ريزولف ب AAB؟ نعم، بس بنصحكم ما تفوتوا تشتروه هلا، انطروا معنا لاخر اللايف، في اوفر سوبر سبيشال رح نقول لكم عنه. Miss Abigail, there's a question that's asking, what's the best laptop or GPU? Let's stick to GPU for Davinci Resolve 17.
Okay, so for that, it depends on the system that you are using. If it's Windows or Mac system, there are available or recommended graphic cards from Blackmagic Design itself. But for me, it depends on what kind of projects you are working on. If you're going to use a Fusion, then the higher graphic card, the better. So 8GB graphic card and above is much better if you're going to like have Fusion projects. Editing and color grading, I think for me, 8GB graphic card would be okay. But it still depends on the project. Usually, you also have to take note of this. Usually, we have clients who are always asking for system requirements when it comes to Davinci Resolve, and we usually ask them what kind of projects they are working on, what kind of codecs they are going to use, if they are going to use Bureau for that, or they're just going to use ProRes files for that. So it really depends. There's really no strict limitation of what kind of graphic cards you're going to use. So if just in case they have like questions like this, they can get in touch with us directly through AABWORLD, and then we can address that so that we can give them like the proper recommendation and not just give them like just use 16GB or 8GB graphic card in general. So it depends.
Okay. So سألت مس أبيجيل شو أفضل GPU لدافنشي ريزولف اليوم؟ جاوبت إنه هذا الشيء طبعا بيختلف إذا عم تستخدموا ماك ولا ويندوز، بس بمطلق الأحوال الشيء الأساسي اللي بنبدأ فيه هو شو نوع البروجكتس اللي عم تشتغلوها. هل عم تشتغلوا بروجكتس بتتكل على فيوجن؟ هل عم تشتغلوا بروجكتس بتتكل على several factors؟ يعني في عدة أمور بتتداخل بهالموضوع، بس بضل أهمها هو إنه جهة استخدام البرنامج. إذا color grading و editing عم بتقول مس أبيجيل، تعتقد انه معظم الكروت المتوفره اليوم على السوق جيده، بس اذا عم تشتغلوا شيء اصعب، شيء بيستخدم كودكس اصعب مثل البروريز رو، طبعا بدكم 8GB يعني 8 جيجا كرت الشاشه يكون وطلوع. لبيرو على فكره هيدي من استخدام شخصي، بيرو منه تقيل على السيستم، مع انه رو كلمة رو بتخوف العالم، بس فكرة انه ما في كودك على الفوتج، عم بتشوفوا انتم الفوتج بصيغة رو، هذا الشيء كتير اسهل. وبتقول مساء أبيجيل كمان بالطبع اذا عندكم اي سؤال عن هالموضوع وعندكم شك بالسيستم يلي عم بتركبوه، كيش عليكم هو انكم تتواصلوا معهم عبر AAB ولا دايركتلي على ويب سايت Blackmagic، وبالطبع حيفيدوكم. Ms. Abigail, another question that asks about the speed editor. Let me say it in Arabic first. ناس سألوا هل لازم نشتري البانل تبع Blackmagic اللي هي الكولر جريدنج ولا speed editor إذا بنعمل color correction or color grading. Ms. Abigail, somebody asked, is it necessary to buy the micro panel or even the bigger panels or even the speed editor if all I do is color grading on Davinci Resolve?
For color grading, then I suggest you go for the micro panel or the mini panel.
Yeah.
But currently right now, if you're going to purchase the studio version of Davinci Resolve, you will get the speed editor and it's part of the package. But if you are working on color grading, like that's like your main job, then you can go for the mini panel. I suggest you go for the mini panel. The micro panel, it's actually a pretty compact panel for color grading, but I can say that the features of the mini panel is much better compared to the micro panel. So if you're just doing primary grading, like if you have like on-set grading needed, then you can use the micro panel for that. But if you are really working as a colorist, then I suggest you go for the mini panel, because if you're familiar with the advanced panel, the buttons available there and the keys available in the advanced panel, the most common ones or the commonly used buttons in the advanced panel will be in the mini panel itself.
Yeah, but it's not necessary, correct?
I'll say that it is necessary, because the panels is really meant for color grading, and what you can do with your mouse and the keyboard is it will be like 10 times much better if you have the panel itself, because you can adjust
but the software
it.
works without it.
Yeah, the software will work without
the
it.
Davinci Resolve works standalone. Okay,
yes, it will.
جاوبت مس أبيجيل. جاوبت مس أبيجيل هل من الضروري نشتري وحدة من الأربعة بانلز متوفرين لبلاك ماجيك، يعني ميني، مايكرو، ادفانسد، ولا حتى السبيد اديتور يلي زعبرت مس أبيجيل وقالت لهم عن الأوفر قبل ما نعلن عنه؟ الجواب كان بالطبع بسهل كتير عليكم أمور، خاصة بالcolor grading process. مرات تضطروا تستخدموا two wheels at the same time، تستخدموا عجلتين إذا بدكم، ولا شو بقولوا له، wheels هيدا اسمه، تستخدمون سوا. فبالطبع هيدا بسهل كتير عليكم بموضوع الاديتنج. مثل كل بانل بتستخدموها لما تستخدموها مع سوفتوير، الهدف منها هي تسرع عليكم وما تضطروا تعملوا كذا موف كرمال تعملوا ذات الحركة. بالطبع السوفتوير دافنشي ريزولف بيشتغل من دونه، وقادرين تعملوا كل شيء بيعملوا دافنشي ريزولف بالبيد فيرجن قادرين تعملوها مع أم من دون هالبانل. البانل شغلتهم بس هي تسهيل عملية الاديتنج عليكم. وبالطبع إذا شغلتكم بس color grading، فبالطبع تنصحكم إنكم تشتروا هالبانل وتكون عندكم ضمن الأرسنال تبعكم. Miss Abigail, another question that pertains to the GPU. Does the free version of Davinci Resolve utilize GPU or does it use more processor? Let me say it in Arabic. في سؤال كان بيتطرق لموضوع كارت الشاشة. هل الفيرجن اللي هي النسخة المجانية من Blackmagic Davinci Resolve هل تستخدم كارت الشاشة ولا بتستخدم بس البروسيسور، معالج الكمبيوتر نفسه؟
Okay, so for the GPU, the free version only uses the one GPU. So whatever GPU you have in your system, that's what Davinci Resolve utilizes. There are some processes that is that is a process under the CPU, and then but most of the processes that happen inside Davinci Resolve is under the GPU. That's why when I discussed about the multiple GPU support, I informed everyone that Davinci Resolve is a GPU-powered system. But you also have to take note the CPU power of your workstation or your system, because there are some processes like decoding that is happening in the CPU of your system.
Yes. And of course, we know that Blackmagic sells their own GPU. Would you say that's the most compatible with Davinci Resolve?
GPU, you mean the
external GPU, eGPU.
The eGPU.
Yes, ma'am.
It can be an accessory, but it's not really the full GPU, because it will still depend on the system that they are using, and it's only it's also tied up with Apple. So if you
better
have,
have a strong base. اوكي سو اللي قالته مس ابيجيل هو بالطبع Blackmagic Davinci Resolve 17 هو سوفت وير بيتكل على جي بي يو. سو وات ايفر جي بي يو عندكم اياه انتم بالسيستم تبعكم بالجهاز تبعكم راح يستخدموا دافنشي ريزولف. بالطبع بضل في شويه بروسيسز بتتكل اكثر على السي بي يو، مثل الديكودينج مثل ما بنعرف هو بروسيس بيصير بالسي بي يو مش بجي بي يو. بالاضافه لهيك سالتها لمس ابيجيل هل تعتقد البلاك ماجيك اي جي بي يو اللي هو اكسترنال جي بي يو هو الافضل للناس تشتريه اذا بدها تعمل ابجريد؟ وكان جوابها هو انه هذا جي بي يو هو جي بي يو تكميله اكثر من جي بي يو ستاند الون، فالافضل هو انكم تبدوا بكارت الشاشه جوات السيستم وتستخدموا هذا جي بي يو اذا كان عندكم بروجكت ثقيل وانتم بحاجه لان اكسترا كيك ولا دفشه زياده اذا بدكم على الجي بي يو اللي عندكم على كارت الشاشه، فساعتها قادرين انتم تستخدموه وتضيفوا قوه للجهاز تبعكم. بس الافضل هو مثل ما قالت قبل تبدوا ب 8 جيجا بايت جي بي يو، يعني كارت الشاشه يكون 8 جيجا بايت. Miss Abigail, before I talk about the offer, I have one last question from people till now. So let me just remind people they can ask their questions now before we wrap up. فعم بقول قبل ما ننهي بعد عنا سؤال واحد ورح ننهي، فإذا عندكم أي سؤال بليز تركوه على يوتيوب أم على انستغرام ورح نجاوب عليه قبل ما نقول لكم شو الأوفر يلي تكلمنا عنه من شركة AAB وبلاك ماجيك اللي رح يكون متوفر فورا بعد هالويبينار. So Miss Abigail, a big concern or a big question people asked was about DAW, which is digital audio workstation. Does Davinci Resolve now honor audio editing in software, or people still have to use an external software? كنت عم بسأل مس أبيجيل في كتير ناس سألت على موضوع الأوديو، هل دافنشي ريزولف اليوم بيسمح لنا إنه نتحكم بالأوديو أي بالصوت جوات السوفتوير، ولا ستيل بعد بدنا نستخدم سوفتوير تاني مشان الأوديو؟
Actually, the Fairlight page for the Fairlight page inside Davinci Resolve is already in Davinci Resolve, so you don't really need to go out or render just the audio for your project. So you can do your audio editing in Davinci Resolve itself through the Fairlight page.
Yeah. So عم بتقول مس أبيجيل جوات دافنشي ريزولف هلا صار فيكم تتحكموا بالاوديو كامل، ما انكم مضطرين تعملوا رندر وتعملوا اكستراكشن للاوديو تبعكم لتودوه على سوفت وير ثاني وتشتغلوا. فهلا اليوم صار دافنشي ريزولف كامل متكامل من ناحيه كولر جريدنج، نون لينير اديتنج، بالاضافه لموضوع الاوديو، فصرت قادرين تخلصوا البروجكت كله بمكان واحد وتطلعوا منه. Thank you so much, Ms. Abigail. I think these are all the questions. I'm just gonna reiterate just very briefly and very quickly all what we said in Arabic and English, just so people are aware of what's happening before we release the offer that is exclusive with AAB and Blackmagic today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you also for having me, and yeah.
It's our honor. طبعا شكر كبير لمس أبيجيل اللي هي المدرب الوحيد المعتمد من شركة بلاك ماجيك بالشرق الأوسط لبرنامج دافنشي ريزولف. كانت معنا اليوم لنحكي على برنامج دافنشي ريزولف 17. بالطبع فرجتنا خاصيات هالبرنامج بشكل مقتضب على قد ما بنقدر بوقت هاللايف، وانتقلنا من بعدها لأسئلة كتير جاوبنا عنها عن هالبرنامج. مثل ما ذكرنا بالأول، هاللايف رح يكون متسجل ورح يكون محطوط على اليوتيوب شانل تبع AABWORLD، مطرح ما بتقدروا تدخلوا وتشتركوا بالقناة لتشوفوا كل الأسئلة اللي قطعت وتشوفوا الديمو اللي عملتها مس أبيجيل بهالحلقة. بالإضافة إلى بالمستقبل بإذن الله AAB رح يكونوا عم بيتعاونوا مع مبدعين عرب ليعلموكم أكثر على هالبرنامج يلي اليوم حولته بلاك ماجيك من إذا بدكم الستاندرد اللي كانوا يستخدموه صانعي الأفلام للكولر جريدينج، بس حولته اليوم بلاك ماجيك لسوفت وير متكامل قادرين تعملوا عليه كل شيء in terms of editing للفيلم ميكرز والفيديوغرافرز، من أوديو، تعالجوا الصورة، تركبوا الفيلم تبعكم، وبالطبع اللي هو أهم ميزة ببلاك ماجيك اللي هي التلوين. هيدي وطبعا كتير غيرها من الاوبشنز يلي ضافتها بلاك ماجيك لريزولف 17. اهمها بالنسبه لي هي انكم قادرين تحصلوا على هالسوفت وير مجانا عبر شركه بلاك ماجيك على الموقع. وبالطبع هالنسخه رح تكون ليميتد بس ب 10% من الامور اللي قادر يعملها ريزولف، بس 90% من هالبرنامج رح تكون متوفره مجانا عبر موقع بلاك ماجيك. بالاضافه اذا اليوم بتشتروا الفيرجن اللي هي مدفوعه اللي بمصاري، طبعا حتاخذوا perpetual license مثل ما قالت مس أبيجيل، يعني هاللايسنس معكم مدى الحياه. يعني اي ريليس تعملوا بلاك ماجيك ان كان باتش ام ان كان ابجريد ام ان كان ايا كان، راح تحصلوا عليها مجانا مدى الحياه من شركه بلاك ماجيك. اليوم ريزولف دافنشي ريزولف تحول من color grading tool، من أداة بس لتلوين الأفلام، ل an all encompassing NLE، لبرنامج واحد متكامل بضم كل الأمور يلي بيعرفوها وبيستخدموها والمتعارف عليها بين صناع الأفلام. بضل أفضل شيء برأيي دافنشي ريزولف عاملينه من زمان لليوم هو قدرتكم انكم تستخدموا التراكر اللي هو تتبع، اي انكم تقدروا تحددوا اريا من الفوتج ويعمل لها تراكنج بشكل فعلا. جربوا، واليوم صار فيكم تجربوها على فكره من دون فلوس، هو انكم تدخلوا على الويب سايت وتنزلوا. هيدا عندنا سؤال واحد بعد. دافنشي رح يكون متوفر على الايباد. Miss Abigail, you already answered this question, so I'm gonna just re-answer it in Arabic. Will DaVinci be available on the iPad M1? For now, there is no plan. لليوم ما في خطة يعني عمل دافنشي ريزولف للآيباد، بس بالطبع إذا بتتابعوا AAB وبلاك ماجيك أنا واثق إنه قريبا كتير رح يعلنوا عن هيك شيء. فالأوفر يلي تكلمنا عنه، the offer you were all waiting for today through AABWORLD and Blackmagic exclusively in the showroom at AAB and soon on the website. If you buy Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve 17, you are getting the speed editor with the software for free. حصريا اليوم بمعرض AABWORLD، بالطبع من اليوم يعني لبعد، لا ما بعرف قد ايه الاوفر رح يضل، وقريبا على موقع AAB قادرين تشتروا برنامج دافنشي ريزولف 17 ومجانا رح تحصلوا معه على السبيد اديتور بانل اللي سعره 100 دينار. رح يكون اثنين بسعر 99 دينار. فيكن من هلا تجوا على المعرض تشتروها، وبنصحكم ما تنطروا الويب سايت، تجوا على المعرض فورا وتاخذوا هالاوفر اكسكلوسيفلي. خليني بس، رح يضل هالعرض متوفر ل 8 جولاي، يعني بعد 5 ايام، فلحقوا حالكم. بنصحكم تجوا على المعرض دغري. You are buying DaVinci Resolve 17, which is a superb NLE software today, and you're getting the speed editor with a panel for free. عم تاخذوا 2 in 1. سعر البانل لحاله 99 دينار وسعر السوفتوير لحاله 99 دينار، فعم تاخذوهم انتم بقيمه 99 دينار لاثنين فقط. The panel alone is 99 KD, the software alone is 99 KD, but today AAB World combined both in one package and you're getting both at 99 KD, which is a superb value for a software that you only have to pay for once in your lifetime. So thank you so much, Ms. Abigail. It was such an honor to have you with us today here at AAB World.
Yes, thank you also, George, and thank you, AAB World, for having me. And yes.
Looking forward for future webinars with you, of course, hopefully in person. We can have you in Kuwait, so you can impart on us your Davinci Resolve knowledge, if I may say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Abigail. Thank you all. Appreciate it. It was جورج سرباي. كان معكم جورج سرباي من شركة AAB World. شكرا كثير لحسن متابعتكم. مثل ما قلنا هاللايف رح يكون متوفر عبر قناة AAB على اليوتيوب. ما تنسوا العرض 99 دينار عم تاخذوا البانل ودافنشي ريزولف 17 اللي هو برنامج رائع للإديتنج اليوم بس حصريا عبر AAB بالمعرض أم حتى على الموقع. شكرا. باي باي. ممكن نطلب عن طريق الواتساب؟ ممكن. لو سمحت إذا عندي كاميرا شلون أطلع الصورة عن طريق التليفون؟ هيدا السؤال هيدا. Thank you so much. شكرا كثير.
Thank you.
باي باي. باي باي.